that's your, just, you want to take a look at that,
I fully understand differential economics. That's not an issue. But
okay. Your second question was?
Second question. I suspect that the total capacity of the parking garage is predicated on expectation of some additional parking demands and revenue coming in from collateral development above and beyond the proponent's project.
I would say that's partially true.
So my concern in the extension to hers is if collateral development does not happen quickly, or perhaps not for a long time, we then have a problem covering the nut to pay for the garage.
Well, the nut to pay for the garage will be covered on the front end with bands. I think you know what those are, correct?
But that debt service has to be covered. And that debt service is interest-free for 10 years by a special act of the state legislature.
It's not interest-free.
I said interest only. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Okay. Currently, that's about 100 basis points. The rates are going up. That's a small nut. But the thing is, in 10 years, you then have to go to P&I. And at current rates, that means the debt service goes up by a factor of about 5.
If you say so.
About 5.
Okay.
If you want 4, I'll give you 4.
If you want to have a financial discussion on this, I would suggest that you spend more time on the LDA side, because that's where that discussion will occur.
She had some questions that I felt were
And
fair.
I think I tried to answer them, Mrs. Zanzaro. If there's any other questions that she has, I'll be happy to answer them
some
as we go.
financial risk. It's a matter of who's...
There's financial risk in the entire downtown. Would you agree with that?
More so.
Redevelopment.
And more so than what Streetworks has set up with protections.
Well, where's Streetworks today?
That's true.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? Come on up, Reverend.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, for the record, I'm Reverend Sheldon Bennett, Minister Emeritus, United First Parish Church, and as this board well knows, a longtime advocate for affordable housing. So I'm not here tonight so much to speak to the particular merits of this project, although I do appreciate the good intentions of a very well-respected Quincy developer for moving the downtown development forward with what promises to be a quality project. But I speak here on behalf of moderate income residents, working people who are increasingly being priced out of housing here in the Quincy area, as I'm sure this board understands. And as we heard from Mr. Stevens, this is, I guess this is the fourth certificate of consistency that's being considered by the planning board, and to date, to my knowledge, they've all been for top of the market luxury type developments. So, so I guess I'm speaking here for concern as to just how the city intends to achieve the goal of the URDP to include within the mix of development in the downtown area residential units that are affordable to more moderate income residents. And I remind the planning board, you probably know this very well, that the URDP, as amended recently, Amendment number 4, restates the objective for new housing development that includes affordable housing as development expands and supports housing opportunities within the URDP that are available to a variety of age and income groups, including elders, young professionals, and working people. And I remind the board that this has always been a goal of the URDP from the very beginning, which had and has had on that basis support from the general public. Now, I mean, we do understand that each project has its own economic dynamics, and that we understand the commitment to affordable housing is only but one of several factors that go into determining whether a project is consistent with the urban redevelopment, a particular project is consistent with the urban redevelopment plan. And we understand that the economics for this particular development, together with the parking garage and all the complexities, have its own reality. But so far, as I was saying, no project to date has been permitted or proposed that includes within it a mix of more affordable units in a manner that's consistent with the urban redevelopment plan. So on behalf of moderate income households and everyone that's concerned with the sort of the social fabric, the social quality and vitality of the downtown district, I urge that this board consider how this particular application is consistent with the URDP objective for including within the downtown development a mix of more affordable units as well as upper market units. And so I urge this board, whatever you decide with respect to this particular application, that as development moves forward, just how is this board going to assure the residents of the city that have supported this plan all along that we will achieve the goal of a good mix of residential units that are available, provide housing opportunities for a variety of folks, elders, more moderate income, working class people, and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. Anyone else wishes to speak?
Anyone else? John Rutherford, 16 Tres Lane. My two questions are 2 points I want to put out. Floor area ratio, one of my favorite terms, and dwelling space per unit, okay? We're going to set records, I think, on both of this, on this project, okay? And then green space that they're, at the meeting last night, at the city council meeting, they tried to tell people that park, to the city councilors, they tried to fool our city councilors that park was part of the property. That's why I record these meetings, because sometimes they say one thing one day, and they say another thing another day. But they're not providing anything. This has to be one of the worst projects. I mean, when I look at the dwelling space per unit, it's around 110, okay, on the business C, which I think is crazy to begin with. It's 500. This makes Mr. Murphy's project look like a shed. And it's the 117,000 square feet when we're talking on the FAR, okay? You don't even list in here how many square feet are in there, so I couldn't do the math. I did get a copy of the LDA, which they haven't even said what the price is. No one knows what is the price that Mr. O'Connell is paying to the city of Quincy. No one has told us that. I mean, how can you even have a contract for sale without knowing what the purchase price is? I mean, we are here way too early. The garage should be built. A good idea is letting Mr. O'Connell build the garage with his money. He can take out loans from the banks, and we can lease them from him at 2% or the lower bond rate that is available. Because basically, we're letting him build a building, not do parking. I mean, I really can't believe this project. I mean, this is, I called up some state senators today seeing if they can maybe stop this, because to put it on top of this, they're asking for tax incentives. They're trying to say it's going to be a hardship for us to build a 15-unit building on a 13,000 square foot lot. There's no hardship at all. There's a million developers that would build on that lot who would be willing to pay full property taxes to the city. You should sell them a bigger part of land where they provide the park. They're getting all these easements. I mean, the city council is going to approve the LDA. We can maybe have the planning board protect us, okay? Because that's what we need. The taxpayers need protection from a mayor and a city council who are not protecting the taxpayers. We need help, okay? This project needs to be scaled down. We need to be treated fairly. We need to collect fair taxes. They need to build their own parking. Every other developer builds their own parking. Let them build their own parking. Why should we build a parking lot? When someone builds a parking lot, it's their responsibility. You know, they said that if there's no parking lot, they're not going to do it. Let's just make it all green space. That would be beautiful. I just moved up here. I go there every day. I mean, I came here today. Did anyone tell anyone that Granite Street, they were gonna take away lanes? So now when you come up Granite, there's only one lane to the left. Everyone has to get in there. And if you want to go into West of Chestnut there, you got to go around to the left. So all people, you're going to add all these more. It's insane, the traffic. I got stuck in that middle lane today. I had to take a right. You don't let people take a left. I had to go all the way down to Walter Hannon Parkway, take a left, make a circle. It's a cluster, and it's not fair. You get people coming up. I mean, Peter O'Connell has made enough money in the city of Quincy at the Marina Bay, squeezing in as many apartments and as many condos on every square foot. Since I was a kid, I've seen it, and I'm not going to stand here silently and let them do the same thing to Quincy Center. And, you know, we need affordable housing, but we need a good plan. Mr. Stevens, please help us, okay? We need a good plan. There doesn't seem to be any sort of good plan. We need a good master plan, not 10 little pieces. I mean, we're selling a portion of the lot. Is this even a parcel that they're buying right now? Am I correct? It's not an actual parcel that we're selling. R1, what is R1? Is it an actual parcel? Like at the Registry of Deeds, could you buy R1 and R1 would say it's 13,500 square feet?
This is the whole function of the urban renewal plan and the disposition agreement. That disposition agreement sets forth the legal subdivision of those parcels of land.
And right now we're relying on the planning department to make sure this is our last step. Once it all goes through, there's no stepping back. It's going to be a 15-story building there, and there is going to be extra parking. People parking all around the side streets. It's even the parking lots that are there right now seem to be like little private parking lots. I mean, I did the math, and it comes out that they're going to be paying like about $7,000 a month to rent 130 parking spaces without having to take any money out of their pocket to build that. That's a pretty good deal. I mean, they could rent those parking places out to the tenants, which they're probably going to do at a much higher price, and they're going to be making a profit on the lease agreement they made with the city. So I looked at the LDA, nothing makes sense. It's a whole bunch of pages that are just ridiculous. So please help the taxpayers, because we need revenue from there. We're talking about IQ financing. We only get IQ financing for commercial development. There should be many more floors. Let's say if you are going to let them build there, make them build their own parking, make them buy a bigger lot, make them put more commercial stuff in that building. Not just, they said at the meeting last night, it's only 4,000 spaces of 4,000 square feet of commercial units, and it's going to be 4 units. So it's only going to be like 4 1,000 square foot units. That's not big enough for any big restaurant or anything. I'm thinking of 4 different people from the Quincy Chamber of Commerce that are probably going to have their little businesses there, you know, and that would even get me more angry. But please help the taxpayers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Good. Mr. Barrett.
I just wanted to address Reverend Bennett, who comes to a lot of these meetings, and I always appreciate his insight. And as he knows, but for the edification of the audience, the planning board has a seat on Quincy's Community Preservation Committee, and we spend a good amount of time sourcing opportunities to create new affordable housing units within the city. But I agree with what you say that not enough is necessarily being done as the Quincy Center redevelopment comes together to address affordable housing. But there's arguments on both sides why there isn't necessarily a mandatory obligation to have a certain amount of affordable housing. But speaking as an individual and not on behalf of my fellow board members, I would like to see, of 124 units, a few of those be affordable housing. And so I just ask you to take it back to the applicant. I think that would go a long way to addressing the well-stated concerns of Reverend Bennett, and hopefully it would not make going forward with the project infeasible.
Anybody else wishes to speak or sign? Okay, we received one piece of correspondence. This dear city officials, City Planner Stevens, Chairman of the Planning Board, and Council President Hughes, and all city councils. I'm unable to attend both public hearings tonight and the lack of handicap parking at City Hall due to the orthopedic surgery and needing a walker. I need a handicap parking place big enough to get my walker out of the car, and I do not see any marked handicap parking spaces at City Hall today. The nearest are in the T-lot. I wish to be noted, I wish to be noted by this email as not in favor of your consideration of an LDA of a portion of the Hancock lot on Dennis Ryan Parkway for the development of a 15-story luxury apartment building with business on the ground level for several reasons. Any land disposition should be a 100-year lease with provisions to protect the city. A 15-story building is much too tall and dense for the surrounding residential neighborhoods across the Millerstyle Road and Rivera Road side of the street. Payment in lieu of taxes of 10% of a zero, if nothing goes bad, is still $0. The rest of the taxpayers have to make up the difference for the city financial obligations. Do not approve the fact that these are luxury apartments with no affordable housing in the plan. No dollar amount for the proposed land sale, to the O'Connells developer is known as yet after a year and a half of this anticipated sale of public land to a private developer. At this past Monday night city council meeting presentation, some city councils made note of the fact of lack of a sale price. Although you are not discussing or taking action on the parking garage at this time, this project is totally dependent on parking. I do not look forward to having a 4 to 6 story, close to 700 parking garage, directly across the street from my home and all the other homes on this side of Revere Road. Homes were there originally before they were moved or taken to build the Hancock lot. The visual effects, the actual placement of a garage, air quality, emissions, and pollution of any parking facility, and the effects on the environment must be studied and shared with the public. As I understand, the parking garage is to be built at city expense. However, most Quincy residents will not be able to afford living there. This also means that the city must pay for moving utilities, a sewer and drainage system, as well as what happens to the old town brook that still runs under the Hancock lot. We need to know the costs and how this will be paid. In summary, the height and density, tax write-offs, no consideration of affordable housing in the 15-story apartment building, lack of financial information for a sale or a long-term lease are unavailable. The location and construction of the parking facility and how it is paid for, environmental and air quality of close to 700 car garage, traffic flows and access and exits from the parking structure, and how codependent one project is on the garage and the other LDAs for the hotel and other projects on the same Hancock lot. I also hope our city will make sure all residents, including those who need handicap parking and disabled citizens, are not continually excluded from attending public hearings at our city hosts. Thank you for your including the statement in the public hearing tonight, for which I got a written notice as an abutter, and for the upcoming city council meeting on December 19th. Signed by Arlene Goodman, 31A Revere Road, owner of 31 to 33 and 35 to 37 Revere Road, Quincy. Okay, I think as council is represented, the city council is going to be considering it a public hearing on Monday night.
Yes.
So we will wait for this position of the LDA. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll be back again.
Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, members of the board. Thank you.